what I still cannot find a way to get rid of is just feeling like I've disappointed somebody in some way. That's basically what I'm experiencing right now. I feel like somebody has glanced a little bit over my wound, and I'm trying to teach myself why I should run away. And there's a big part of me going, you cannot do that. You told yourself you were going to stop running away. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I appreciate every single person who has been watching my videos, and I appreciate every single person who has recently subscribed to my channel. So today I would like to talk about rejection sensitive dysphoria, RSD, which is something that I struggle with a lot as someone who has ADHD along with my autism. And I am talking about it in particular today, even though that was not the plan, because I am struggling with it right around this time. Okay. I am currently in school, like I've mentioned before. I also do some part-time work. So for my part-time work, I took a break. I took some time off because I wanted to travel when I was going to go on holiday for the Christmas break. And I have resumed to school, but I have not started going back to work. I haven't reported back at work. And I have been struggling with going back to work because those voices came in my head again. And somehow I've found a way to convince myself that I don't need to go back, that work wasn't all that. I was getting tired of it anyway. My co-workers there, I'm sure they hate me. My boss is probably angry with me. I don't know what I did, but he's angry with me. Even though when I asked for the time and the permission to travel, he was very solicitous, he was very gracious. He's always been nothing but gracious. But then during the holiday, I got removed from the WhatsApp group and I did not say anything. I don't know if it was a mistake. I don't know if they thought I wasn't active on the group, because there are some groups that way where if you're not active then you're removed from the group. I don't know why I got removed from the group, and I never reached out to ask to find out why, because I did not know at first, and then later on I found out. And so every time I think, oh, I should report back, my mind goes there that, oh, if they weren't, if they're not like tired of me, why would they remove me from the group anyway? So that's just one more reason not to go back. And I did not know what was going on, but I've been thinking about it, and just like today, it occurred to me that it's actually rejection sensitive dysphoria rearing its ugly head once again. And the one of the ugliest parts of it is I've been unwell this past 2 weeks. I've been on medication. I've been a bit down. I am getting better. No, I've been struggling with nausea and weakness and all of that side effects of the medication. I've been able to go to school just barely. I've barely been coping, but I haven't been well enough to say I even wanted to go to work. Like, I haven't been well enough to be able to do work stuff, to report. And there has been a big part of me that has been happy about that. Like, that's just messed up, right? But there you go. A big part of me has been not happy per se, but it has felt relief, because at least I have a good excuse not to have to report yet. Now I'm getting better. I'm recovering my strength. I'm done with the medication, so the side effects are receding, and I'm beginning to panic again that I do not have a good excuse. So I have been working my head this past weekend, struggling to figure out another good excuse to make sure I don't report at work. Now, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get rid of this rejection sensitive dysphoria thing for like completely. I don't know. I have tried my best. I've tried a lot of, even before I knew anything about rejection sensitive dysphoria, even before I knew anything about it's being linked to ADHD or that I had ADHD or anything like that. I know I've always had this part of me that has always been particularly sensitive about, you know, not just criticism in particular, not just people saying negative things about me, about something I've done, about my appearance, about my actions, about my words. Not just that, but there's sometimes even just a look, just a look, or sometimes it can just begin in your head where everything's going on, everything's going on fine. Something, just a little bit something different happens, and you've created this whole narrative in your head, and you're sure people are angry with you. I cannot tell you how many times I would go out in the morning, everything would be fine. I would come back in the evening, and I would be sure that my roommates was angry with me. I don't know why. I wouldn't see anything because I'd be monitoring her eyes. You know, that whole hypervigilance, that hypervigilance would be there where I'll be very vigilant. I'll be trying to observe her surreptitiously in a way that she wouldn't know that I'm observing her, but I'm trying to observe the way she's looking at me, whether she's looking at me a certain way or whether she's going to talk to me. And if she doesn't have anything to say, then I'm going to add that to the reasons why I think she's angry with me, and then I'm going to be quiet also because I don't know how to handle it until she says something and I realize, oh, her tone is actually not harsh, or she's not saying anything like to criticize me for anything I've done in particular, or maybe she's not angry with me, all that, and then I begin to feel some relief. It happened to me with work as well when I graduated from school and I worked. Sometimes my boss would just, he wouldn't say anything. I don't know why you would greet your boss in the morning and he wouldn't say anything. He wouldn't reply. So my natural response to that in my head would be, he's angry with me for something I did. Maybe he's angry that I came late. Because again, unfortunately, one of those things I've always struggled with is late coming. I'm either super early or super late. Most times I end up being late because I don't want to be super early. Of course, now I've reversed it because it has caused me too much embarrassment in my life and I'm just done with it. So I've decided this time around that I'm going back to school to do it. I'm sort of doing it all over again in a way. I decided I'm going to err on the side of caution. I'm actually going to be the one who goes super early and just wait. It's a lot more restful for my mental state than arriving there late and feeling humiliated and all of that. Anyway, I would think my boss was angry with me because I'm late, or because maybe I did not do something that he told me to do, even though I cannot think of anything he told me to do that I did not do, or maybe he thinks I did not do my job well. And you know, these are just select examples I've picked out, but it has followed me my entire life. And I know rejection sensitive dysphoria, it affects other people in slightly different ways because all of us are on a spectrum if you're neurodivergent. So, you know, things you might experience similar things but in different, slightly different ways. I know somebody who struggles with this, and like you greet her today, tomorrow you don't greet her very well. She's already convinced that somebody must have told you something bad about her, and now you hate her, and now you're looking at her badly, or you're looking down on her, whatever, and it really causes a lot of pain. Causes me a lot of discomfort. So I don't struggle with stuff like that because I've you know, through my work with like personal development and all of that, I've been able to get to a point in my life where I'm able to convince myself in my head, if you're looking at me a certain way, it's because you're admiring me. I'm not going to think of the fact that you think you're looking down on me. That wouldn't even occur to me any longer. If you say something like negative to me, it's because you're having the problem, you're in pain, you're struggling with something, and that is what is causing all that negativity in your life. It has nothing to do with me. So I'm able to convince myself of you know, stop just being positive in my own head, and it helps me to stay positive. It helps me to deal with my anxiety. It helps me to deal with just that mood deep that we struggle with. What I still cannot find a way to get rid of is just feeling like I've disappointed somebody in some way, like whether it's my boss or somebody like my superior at school or somebody who is important to me. And I feel like I've disappointed them in some way. I haven't done something right, I've done something wrong, and they're not letting me know, or I'm supposed to have certain capabilities and they think I'm lacking in those capabilities. And so they just, my estimation has dropped in their eyes, and it causes me a lot of discomfort, and I don't know how to talk myself out of that thinking pattern, and to talk myself into a more positive frame of mind where whenever I experience something like that, I can just push myself into that positive frame and just always go there. Don't know if this video has a beginning or an end. I don't know where the head is or where the tail is. I don't know if I have a point to it. I guess I'm talking about this because, like I said, I'm taking this channel as my public diary, public journal. And while I talk about things that I experienced in the past or things that I do experience, I feel like one of the crucial aspects is to record things that I'm going through in real time as much as possible, or as close to being in real time as I can. Since this is something I'm struggling with right now, then I guess that's why I'm talking about it. Again, my ADHD symptoms, I found lots of ways to cope with them my entire life, and I feel like a my my autism has helped with that. B, life experiences, going to boarding school, a military boarding school, helped with that as well. C, having a parent who has ADHD undiagnosed, but I'm pretty sure, has ADHD, and the way they've coped and the way they've taught us to cope with certain just ADHD symptoms that we share has helped me to be able to have ways to cope with, that scatterbrained type of thing where you lose things, you put things in, you cannot seem to organize yourself. Those kinds of symptoms that I've struggled with, I found ways to cope with them. Losing things, I used to lose things a lot when I was a child. Oh my god, I cannot even. Maybe I'll talk about that in the future video, but oh my god, now I don't lose things as much again because for all the things I mentioned, life experiences, parenting and all of that. Generally, I don't feel like my ADHD symptoms are debilitating or that they cause me distress or that they take over my life, except whether I'm in burnout, or I'm exhausted because I'm struggling with other things. I've just realized that if I don't allow myself get past that point of exhaustion, then I would not have to struggle with my ADHD symptoms that much. But if I do get up to that point, if I start getting close to that point, then the ADHD symptoms begin to show themselves, and then I have to deal with those as well. And that happened in my most recent autistic burnout. I will talk about that in a future video. I guess that's one of the reasons why I don't talk about my ADHD symptoms as much, because I feel like my autism symptoms are more prominent in my life and they cause me a lot more distress, with the exception of this, what we're talking about today, which is RSD. If you don't know what RSD is, I feel like I should have talked about what RSD is at the beginning of the video, because it's almost as if I'm operating on the assumption that everybody knows. First of all, RSD is rejection sensitive dysphoria, and rejection sensitive dysphoria affects people who have ADHD, and it's when they've experienced so much rejection, so much criticism at a very young age, a lot more criticism than they would have experienced or have received at that young age if they were neurotypical, if they did not have ADHD. So they've received so much criticism about the way they do things, the things they do, just the way they are. Basically everything about them, nearly everything about them calls for criticism because they express themselves differently from neurotypical people or people who do not have ADHD in this case. And that kind of causes them to become sensitive to criticism as they grow older. I know a lot of people say, oh, everybody struggles with criticism, everybody is sensitive to criticism, but it's the intensity, okay? Because if somebody who doesn't have ADHD has gotten a certain amount of criticism by a certain age, it helps to shape the way they grow up, and it helps to teach them how to conduct themselves in life, and it causes them some pain when it comes to certain things, in a way to prevent them from behaving in certain ways that are unacceptable in society. But if there's somebody who has ADHD and that person has gotten maybe times two or times three or times four or times whatever amount of criticism that the neurotypical child has gotten, then you can imagine that that sensitivity is going to be a lot more intense, and the pain of the pain from that is going to be a lot more intense and longer lasting. And when the criticisms are not about just a few actions here and there, a few words here and there, but they are, in fact, about the actions, the words, the mannerisms, the way they are, the way they behave, they're what they are at their very core, then you can imagine that it's that pain, that criticism, that sensitivity, and just that you can imagine all the things that follow, right? Makes them unsure of who they are as a person. It makes them just afraid of being themselves. It makes them feel like everything about themselves is wrong, and it makes them expect criticism all the time once they are being themselves. And that just causes a more intense pain. I don't know how else I can describe that. I guess the way I can describe it to explain it is if you get hit in a particular point, you keep getting hit in that point, um you're going to that place is going to become sore after a while, and depending on how long you've been hit and how strongly you've been hit at that point in your body, it's going to determine just how deep that soreness is going to go and that internal wound is going to go. And you're going to get hit to a certain point where that wound might scarf over on the surface, but inside it will never heal. It will still be sore. I guess, yeah, that's a way I can describe it. It's kind of like people who struggle with joint pains or musculoskeletal issues that have healed supposedly, but then when there's maybe in extreme cold weathers, the pain comes back, or they become stiff in that area, or it's kind of similar to that, not quite, but something similar to that. So the wound might scab over, but on right beneath the surface, all the way to the depths of the tissue or wherever you haven't healed, it's still very sore. And so all anybody has to do is to just go near it and have a glancing touch, and all of a sudden it begins to ache you again. And if you know you have a wound like that, or a situation like that, you're going to be protecting it as much as you can. You're going to be trying to make sure nobody goes near it, because even though it looks healed on the surface, anytime anybody goes near it, it's going to hurt you. So it's kind of like that. That's basically how I see rejection sensitive dysphoria. You protecting that wound all the time, and if you feel like somebody mistakenly glances over it, then it causes all this pain, and all you are occupied with is trying to see you how you can just run away from that situation. That's basically what I'm experiencing right now. I feel like somebody has glanced a little bit over my wound, and I'm trying to teach myself why I should run away. And there's a big part of me going, you cannot do that. You told yourself you were going to stop running away. God knows how many times I've run away from friendships, from jobs, from situations. I just keep running away, and I've told myself I'm not going to do that anymore. The least I can do is to at least visit that place one more time and say, oh, by the way, I'm not going to show up anymore, and just look for one excuse, be an adult about it. But right now, it just feels like I should not go. And even just thinking about it alone, thinking about what I should do, should I go, should I not go, what am I going to say? Even if I go now, it's going to feel like I've taken too much time, all in my head, and it's exhausting. It's so exhausting. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling here because I feel like this entire video has been about me rambling. If you have been able to get anything from this video, then I salute you. Thank you so much for watching this video till the very end. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below if you feel comfortable sharing, and if you can relate to anything I've said here, or if you've even been able to make sense of anything I've said here today. Thank you once more, and I will see you next time.